All right, let's jump right into this because we've got a real mystery on our hands. You're doing everything you're supposed to. You're eating all the healthy stuff, right? But you're still hitting that wall, that frustrating energy slump. Today, we're going to be detectives and crack the case of why your blood sugar might be on a wild roller coaster, even when you're trying your best.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? You go for the whole wheat bread, you pick the brown rice, you grab a banana for a snack, and then boom, an hour or two later, you feel foggy, tired, maybe even a little grumpy. It almost feels like your body's working against you. So, what on earth is actually happening here?
So check this out. Our list of usual suspects includes foods we're told are great for us. I'm talking about oatmeal, whole wheat chapatis, dahlia, even that banana you grab on your way out the door. Now, these are not bad foods, not at all, but they hold a really important clue to solving our mystery.
Okay, so for our very first clue, we're putting the food itself under the microscope. It turns out a lot of these so-called healthy foods are kind of living a double life, and we really need to understand why.
Here it is. The big secret is something called the glycemic index. So your body has one main question when you eat carbs. How fast does this turn into sugar in my blood? It doesn't really care if the box has a healthy sticker on it. It's all about speed. Foods that break down into glucose super fast, even healthy ones, are what cause that spike. And this shows you exactly how we can control that speed. Think about it. Eating a wheat roti all by itself. That's like putting glucose on a super fast expressway, straight into your bloodstream. A spike is guaranteed. But if you add some protein like dal and fiber and fats from Subzi, you're basically creating roadblocks and traffic jams. You slow that whole process right down, and you get a much gentler, more controlled response. So the takeaway from our first clue is huge. It's not about forbidding the roti or the rice. No way. It's all about what you eat with it. Balance. That is your secret weapon against the spike.
But, the food is only half the story. To get to our second clue, we've got to look inside, because it turns out there are invisible accomplices at work, things happening inside your own body that can completely change the game.
We're going to zoom in on 3 of these hidden forces. First, the stress hormones that are running high in the morning. Second, the health of your gut. And third, something called insulin resistance. Any one of these can turn a perfectly healthy meal into a blood sugar nightmare.
Just look at this. This is wild. It's the exact same banana, eaten by the exact same person. The only thing that changed was the time of day. So why the huge spike in the morning? It's a hormone called cortisol. It's naturally high when we wake up to get us going, but it also makes our bodies a bit more resistant to insulin. So that morning banana just hits different, a lot harder than one you'd have in the evening.
Okay, next up, your gut. Picture your gut microbiome as a team of little chefs in your stomach. When that team is happy and diverse, they process food like curd or oats nice and slowly. But if your gut health is off, well, the kitchen is in chaos. Food gets handled all wrong, and that leads to those really sharp spikes and the awful crashes that follow. And this quote right here, this just nails it. This brings us to our third internal factor, insulin resistance. Here's the deal. Insulin is like a key. It's supposed to unlock your cells to let glucose in for energy. But with insulin resistance, it's like the locks on your cells get all rusty. The key doesn't work so well, and the glucose just ends up stuck in your bloodstream, causing a much bigger, longer-lasting spike. So we've looked at the food, we've looked inside the body. The final piece of our puzzle is you. It's your habits. Let's take a look at the scene of the crime, so to speak, and see how the way we eat is creating these hidden spikes. Portion size. This is a big one. It's the classic case of too much of a good thing. Maybe 1 dosa is totally fine for your body to handle. But what about 3? Or a giant bowl with 2 heaping cups of fruit? Even though the food itself is healthy, the sheer amount of carbs hitting your system all at once is like a flash flood. Your body just can't manage it all, and a spike is pretty much inevitable. And what about the form of the food? An actual apple has all this great fiber that acts like a brake system for the sugar. But the moment you blend it into a smoothie or press it into a juice, you've destroyed all that fiber. You've basically pre-digested it. The sugar is just sitting there, ready to be absorbed instantly. That's why these healthy liquid meals are often the absolute worst offenders for causing monster spikes. Okay, so we've followed all the clues. We've investigated the food, we've looked at the internal accomplices, and we've examined our habits. I think it's time we bring it all together and officially declare this case closed. So you see, it's almost never just one thing.
That energy crash isn't just because of the banana. It's the banana, eaten by itself first thing in the morning when your cortisol is high, maybe when your gut is a little stressed, and maybe it was a really big banana. All of these factors team up to create that spike.
And that brings us right back to our main conclusion. This one idea changes everything. Stop thinking about foods as just good or bad. The real question to ask is, how is my body handling this food at this time in this combination? When you start thinking that way, you take the power back. You solve the mystery for yourself. So next time, don't just ask if it's healthy, ask if it's healthy for you right now.